This is a really powerful process that's useful when you know you're carrying any strong emotion such as rage, grief, anxiety, depression. We often hold feelings in, and hey, often it's appropriate to hold things in. However, it's also essential that we give ourselves time to release that emotion. So we do the release or venting for a set time, and then we stop. And it is important that you do stop and not spiral off into the emotion, whatever it is. You can release big emotions in stages at different times on different days. And to learn this, you don't need to feel anything in particular to start. You can just learn the process and go through it, and then you'll get the hang of it for when you want to use it at a stressful time. Now, after the release, we do a calming down and grounding exercise to come back to the present. It's a very important part of the technique to end with that, to calm yourself down and to come back into the present. Okay, remember, emotion is energy in motion, and I'll show you how to use that motion of drawing or mark making combined with breath work so it can be therapeutic. All right, let's go. This process can be used to make all sorts of textures. You can create different patterns. You can also use it to create images, sense of a sphere, or three-dimensional objects. Today, however, we're not going to be trying to create images at all. We're going to be scribbling in rounded lines, playing with zigzag lines that look a bit like any of these, and just sort of a combination of expressive lines. So any of these is the kind of thing we'll be doing just to use it to vent emotion. At the end, we'll be soothing ourselves and calming down and drawing smooth flowing lines and humming. And that brings us back to the present and grounds us in our body. With this process, you can use basically any markers or pencils that you have. So first of all, you use what you have. I'll just make suggestions. So this is just a soft pencil, and it makes a really nice black mark. A graphite pencil is also nice. A sort of a medium point bullet point, or a fatter bullet point, or a chisel point marker. All those are good. It's kind of satisfying to have a real black mark with this. But use what you have. So that's just suggestions and guidance, not required. Okay. First of all, I'm going to just I'll do a series of drawings and work you into what the process is. So the first one, we're not going to go fast. We're just going to get used to the process. Okay. So the goal today is to learn the process and to get the feel of what it's like. And then once you have a go with it a few times, you can really dive into it and dive into the emotion of it. So, okay. First of all, you might want to just check in and notice if there's a place in your body that has tension or emotion and what that is. If you can name it, that's just great. And you can allow your hand to make marks that express that emotion. Sort of allow the pen to flow. Now I'm going to start with just sort of making some rounded marks. So it might be all the chaotic thoughts in my head. And just fill the page. Just work your way around and just fill the whole page. And just get used to making marks. And when you do this, notice your breathing, and you want to make some loud exhales. Just sort of so that just gets you used to sort of the process of scribbling, of drawing, chaos drawing. Okay, all right. We're going to go a little bit further with this. Now, there's no right way to do this, so remember that as you keep going. Okay, so you might draw an emotion. We might play around with what zigzags are like. So this might be rage. And when you're doing this, also go into making noise. So you can bark like a dog, you can growl, you can... And if you're doing it with kids, you can make lots of animal noises and make it fun and silly. And it's good if you can sort of make peace with being a bit ridiculous with it. Now, that's a bit way out there. It's a bit weird. It is indeed. So you can also hum. And humming, I found out, is really good for the nervous system. It stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system and actually supports your system calming down. So it is a way of releasing tension. And by making the noise and getting your breathing going, you are starting to release whatever the emotion is that's going on. But this is just great for, I'm just going to do a third one here. Depression, anxiety, rage, grief, and you can dive into it. And you can also put music on. You can put some heavy metal on if you're angry. You can put sad music on if you're sad. And just go into it. But play with it and, you know, enjoy being absurd and enjoy being lion or dog or and just play with it so you can vent whatever emotion is in you. And what I find is I end up being energized at the end of this, which is fabulous. It's actually quite enjoyable to go from, you know, grumpy or angry to energized and like, wow, yeah, boy, my brain is going in a good way and I can dive into whatever my next task is. So that's the goal of this. Okay, and then, yeah, and with this, you can, yeah, work silently or blare music, whatever it is that makes you feel alive and connected to you. Please follow what I do when it feels right and take off on your own tangent when that feels right. So trust yourself. Yeah, and again, work silently or blare music, or you can be an angry bee and hum with it. You may not feel quite so crazy if you're humming. So you can sort of draw your anxiety or draw your rage, your grief, or whatever it is that's going on for you. And you can also just dive in and do this for the fun of it. And you may find it energizes you or gives you some sense of release, even when you're not aware of anything in particular that's going on. But honor yourself, trust the process, and explore with it, vent with it, and play with it, and just be curious. Sometimes I might make 5 or 10 different drawings and just use this to vent. It's just a real healthy thing to do. It's a way of letting go stress from your system and allowing out all the things that we keep in. So you can do this 10 times and then take all those bits of paper and just throw them out. It doesn't have to be anything that you keep. If you feel like it, sometimes you can do these in pretty colors. And let's see, where was that lovely one? Yeah, you can do this in pretty colors, and it can still be, you know, what crazy thoughts you have in your head, and play around with that. But this is about the process. It's not about the end result. And I think you can see that quite clearly. The second part of this is it's really important to calm yourself down. So after venting and diving into a strong emotion, it's really important to give yourself some time to come back to being present and to be calm. So the second part of this is I'm just using 2 markers again, a light green and a darker green. both just water-based markers, nothing fancy. I think this is one my son might have had when he was about 10 years old. So there's nothing expensive or fancy in the materials I'm using here. And we'll be slowing down and making curved lines, slow flowing curved lines. And it takes a certain amount of focus to slow yourself down and to do even slow curves. Okay, so that's the goal this time. I'm just going to practice what it feels like to make these marks, and I'm going to move slowly. So I'm going to have to think about that, of moving slowly. Just trying to do smooth curves. It takes a certain focus. We want to calm the nervous system now. We might do some figure eights. There are all sorts of infinity signs. Sort of play around with that. And nice smooth curves. I'm just going to notice my pen on the page. What it feels like to draw slowly, nice smooth curves. And you can draw whatever calm feels like, what contentment might feel like, and that could be anything that suits you. But getting creative can be a very powerful way to tap into an aliveness, into an energy when life events seem to have blown you off course. Okay. And then I'm going to play with the darker marker and just combine the marks. So you can use this to reflect, to discover, to experiment, to just notice details and savor them. And I'm just going to fill in some of the spaces here. But I'm going to do my best to just slow down. And with this, we want to hum. And I've just found out recently that humming actually activates the parasympathetic nervous system. It has a physical process that it starts. So let's just hum. And I've read that you want to hum for sort of 5 or 10 seconds. So you're just humming on an out breath. And it actually, it does something in your body, activates the parasympathetic nervous system and helps lower your cortisol levels, lowering your blood pressure, slowing down your heart rate. It's very important to do this after you've done some emotional work. And you can go back and do another round of emotional work. That's just fine. So just take time to slow down. I'm just going to do another page of this. I'll use the fatter tip this time. So just dive in and do whatever marks feel right to you. Maybe what's joy or contentment or harmony looks like to you. This might be harmony. Nice smooth curves, and just notice color on the page. How much pressure you're putting on. Just doing a bunch of figure eights or infinity symbols. slow down. So again, this is about the process, drawing not to make a picture, but about calming down the nervous system and just allowing emotions to flow through us. So this is a very soothing thing to do for the nervous system. Just allowing my line to flow, so I'm not picking the pen up from the page. Just allowing my mind to stay with what I'm doing, trying to just focus on that. If other thoughts come up, just let them go. There isn't a right way to do this, so remember your page, doesn't matter what it looks like. All right, I'm curious to hear what that was like for you. Just as a reminder, we started out with making sort of rounded marks, and then doing more zigzaggy marks or expressive marks, whatever drawing that emotion might be. And then we went into more loopy marks and just different directions that you can take this, that you can play with this, slow down and make pretty patterns if you feel like it. You can work with fine markers if you feel like it. You can use this for expressive little bursts that look a bit like Macintosh roses from Art Deco. I quite like these, actually. And that you can also use it for doing drawing. It's a technique that you can use for drawing to create a sense of 3 dimensions. So you can play with this in all sorts of ways if you feel like doing that. And you can make all sorts of landscapey sort of drawings. But the main goal of this is to use it to vent in a healthy, safe way. It can be kind of fun to enjoy the ridiculousness of just making marks and making funny noises, and knowing that you can go from being in a bad mood where you're bouncing off the walls, you've got some real strong emotion going on that's painful to live with, and you can quiet your brain down and slow down and start calming down and doing something that is quiet. And I hope you find this useful. Thank you.